This morning, we are hosting a media event on school safety. Principals across the state of Maryland recognize that the safety of our children is top priority. So I'm honored to introduce to you the Secretary of the Department of Transportation for Maryland, Ms. Beverley Swaim-Staley, to comment about this topic of utmost importance to us.
The reason we're here today is to make sure that everybody knows all of the things that we can do to make sure that you all are safe when you're riding the bus or when you're walking to school every morning. Well, the reason this message is so important is that we had about 1 million school children that are starting back to school in the state of Maryland alone, starting last week and this week. And do you know that every year, unfortunately, we have about 300 children who are hurt, either going to school or coming from school. So I'm going to go through a few of the basic rules because rules can save lives. Do your teachers ever talk to you about rules? Yes? Okay. Well, here's some of the rules. Now, the first set of rules are things that I would want drivers to remember. So maybe you all can help your parents remember some of these things, okay? The first is that I know we're very busy when we leave for school in the morning. So we need to make sure that we take our time. The commute always takes longer. You know, we're used to those commutes in the summertime when we maybe have a little bit more time to get to work. But once the school buses and we're all back to school, we need to be patient and make sure that we're more observant and taking more time. The buses and all the additional cars that are on the road can frequently create a ripple effect, especially when we're talking around particularly a school area. So we want to make sure that drivers don't rush, that they take their time in the morning, because when we rush, we tend to make bad decisions. We want to follow the speed limit. The speed limits, of course, tend to be lower around the school areas, and we have speed limits that are posted in the school zones. And we also need to make sure that we understand, and you should make sure your parents know this, that the traffic fines in a school zone can be doubled, and the worst case scenario could cost you $1,000. Think $1,000 is a lot of money? Yes. So that's a good reason, right, to stay alert, watch for children walking in the neighborhood, especially if there are no sidewalks. In some of the neighborhoods, unfortunately, we don't have sidewalks. So that's especially we need to be careful. And we need to make sure that pedestrians are careful crossing those sidewalks, as well as that we as motorists are making sure that we're watching out for people and for children who are crossing the street. Now, there's a few rules about a school bus. Now, many of you ride the school bus to school? Yeah, most of you? Okay. Well, many times we've seen drivers that try to sneak past a school bus. Sometimes they get impatient. Have you ever seen that? Yeah. Well, we want to make sure that people know that it's against the law to pass a stopped school bus while its lights are flashing red and the stop arm is extended. When a school bus stops, those flashing red lights go on and the stop sign flaps out. Drivers in both directions are required to stop. And you know, this is the most dangerous time getting on a school bus, because sometimes, have you ever been late for school and maybe you've had a tendency to rush to the school bus or to run? That's a very dangerous time, and so people need to be very observant to make sure that children aren't darting out to try to catch the school bus early. So it's very important that drivers are patient, that they observe the yellow light and the red light around the school buses. Now, some other things that parents and kids also need to know. Everyone plays a role in our back-to-school safety. So here are some other things that we all need to understand, and this applies to you all as well, okay? Have a safe place to wait for the bus, away from the traffic and the street. Your parents go with you and make sure you have a safe spot and you know where you're supposed to wait for the bus in the morning? No? Well, I bet if you ask them, they would, okay? Stay away from the bus until it comes to a complete stop and wait for your bus driver to let you know that it's okay for you to get onto the bus. When leaving the bus in the evenings, walk 10 feet or 5 giant steps. Can you imagine how our 5 giant steps would be? Okay, 5 giant steps away from the bus. That will get you out of the danger zone. And of course, you all, if you're walkers, you know to only cross the street at a crosswalk, right? Yes? Okay. And school crossing guards, do you have school crossing guards? You should always make sure that if you do, that you're observing the school crossing guard and you're doing what they tell you as well. And then there's some basic rules, and this doesn't just apply to when you come to school, but anytime you're going to cross the street, you look left, look right, and then look left again. Have you ever heard those rules before? Yes, I'm sure you have. I'm sure your teachers tell you those as well. They're very, very important rules. And if you're riding your bike, don't ever ride your bike across the intersection. You know what you should do if you're going to ride your bike? You should get off and walk your bike across the intersection. But of course, always make sure that you do what first? Look both ways and then look 3 times, right? Left, right, and left again. Okay. Now, for those of us who are driving and we want to make sure that we are obeying the laws, we need to be patient and we need to be observant. We need to watch what's going on. When that bus's light turns yellow, we need to know that it's going to stop soon, and we need to slow down and take care to make sure that we're protecting who? That's right, you, our most precious resource. Now, we want to think that everybody follows these rules, but of course we know that they don't, and that's why we're out here today, and we appreciate your help in helping us get the message across so that as we go back to school, we're all a little more alert and a little more patient, and we really take the time to understand what these rules are. 1, 2, 3.
Stop and cross walking!
Well, that was really good. You guys think you can beat them? Okay, put some oomph into it. 1, 2, 3.
Stop and school bus!